Where we last left off, Katarina was asking us if we shared the same feelings in regards to becoming Marth's personal knight. I'm going to show you what happens if you answer yes. The dialogue doesn't actually continue very long. That is basically it. Yeah, that's all. And now we're up to Prologue 7, the final test. Yes, it looks like the end of the prologue is finally in sight. And also interesting enough, I only just realised this, it's the 7th platoon passing their final test in the 7th chapter of the prologue. Oddly fitting that. Hey, what's this about our individual strengths varying? We're all awesome. Well, some of us are a little bit more over-leveled than the others, but yeah. Anyway. Oh yes, we're prepared to do our best. We can handle any test. Don't tell me. It's gonna be friendship's bliss, isn't it? As long as it doesn't involve saving an empire. You know, it's not like we're gonna end up doing that in this game. No. And now Freya's giving us, strangely enough, I have no idea why they didn't give you this option in the previous chapter. For some reason, you only get the ability to actually access your inventory in the preparation screen now. This might be the only Fire Emblem where this is the case. In all the other ones I know, you have access to the inventory as soon as you get battle preparations. But, before that, we have quite a few base conversations to go through. But, anyway. Our first here is on the Kingdom of Arcania, which continues on from the previous lecture. Now, I might take some time to explain the stars system in this game. It's actually kind of interesting, and it's very different to Path of Radiance. In Path of Radiance, conversations were starred by how important they were gameplay-wise. 1 star is just story info, 2 stars is tactical advice for the next chapter, and 3 stars is an actual concrete item or character. In this game, it's totally different. The stars generally denote how important a conversation is story-wise. 3 stars usually mean some kind of gameplay tip or tactical advice, but in this case, not really. In this case, it's just, you know, pretty important story information. We've got a flashback to Shadow Dragon here. Funny thing about these flashbacks, you might notice, Marth uses his portrait from this game, despite the fact he's meant to be a year older now. You'll see that with some of the flashbacks that involve Sheeta. She'll also use her new portrait, despite the fact that they're supposed to be showing what happened back in Shadow Dragon. Strangely enough, there is exactly 1 time in this game where you actually do get a portrait reused from Shadow Dragon, and you'll see that much later. Oh, don't tempt fate there, Marth. And does Katarina know something we don't? Anyway, this next conversation here is an introduction to Cecile, because, well, I mean, you heard about her a little bit, but she didn't fully introduce herself until now. And yeah, we get a good indication of her character here. And Luke is disappointed. Yeah, I guess Cecile isn't really his type. Maybe she's more Rhodey's. I mean, there is some slight evidence that Rhodey kinda has a thing for her, and I love that line. Her reaction to being accused of being a violent girl is to violently attack him. Anyway, back to what I was saying about the stars. So 2 stars is generally slightly less important story info, and ironically enough, 1 star is reserved for, I'll stop now because this one is very important. I actually should have saved this until last, I just realised. As you can tell by the lack of music, this is going to be very significant. Sorry I'm being quiet here, but I think, yeah, you just need to read this text. Is she sad because the training's about to be over? Well, that can't be right, because when it's over, they'll all be knights and they'll all still be together. So, that's interesting. And now we have a conversation with Marth, and in this one we get a bit of, we get a little bit more character development here. We get to find out a little bit more of what he's like, and again, like I said, a lot of things in this game are much improved from Shadow Dragon. One of them is character development. And in a few seconds, we're about to hear this theme. This theme is amazing. You'll be hearing the actual track that this is a sort of softer piano arrangement of later. But anyway, this is really an amazing track known as The Right Road. It plays only during support and base conversations, but it really helps set the mood. So essentially, whenever you hear this song, you know angst is coming. And so here, Marth and Merrick are talking about all these people who died in the previous war. Now, I have a bit of a theory about this conversation, which I'll explain to you when I get the chance. Ellis kind of alluded to this whole mentality Marth has a few chapters earlier. Now, here is my theory. Personally, you know what I think? I think this conversation is taking a jab at Shadow Dragon. I actually think it is. Because anyone who's played that game, or really knows anything about that game, will know probably the most controversial thing about that game was the fact it almost outright encouraged you to kill off your allies. Because everyone got no character development, you really didn't really feel sad for losing them. And you actually got rewarded with extra side quests for killing off your people. And a lot of people thought that ran completely contrary to how the Fire Emblem series usually works, and totally missed the point of the whole series. I mean, you're supposed to get attached to your characters and, you know, care if they die and not want to lose anyone. And so here, suddenly, now we have Marth talking about how he actually really doesn't like seeing his allies die, and how he really wishes that he could save everyone and not let a single person on your side die. And it's essentially the mentality of a lot of Fire Emblem players and why they were so angry at what Shadow Dragon did. So again, my theory, I think this conversation is actually taking a jab at that. And it's the developers saying, look, we got it totally wrong there and we're sorry. That's just my 2 cents on the issue. Anyway, now I've been interrupted so many times. The star rating. Strangely enough, the conversations rated 1 star are actually the support conversations, which ironically are in fact the ones that actually give you tangible items. I'll talk about the support system a little later when I get the chance, because it doesn't really come into play in the prologue. I'm doing some item rearranging here. Now, I said before that the steel lance Cecile comes with is for Rhodey and the steel sword is for Luke. What I like to do is give them those ones respectively. Then I like to swap their initial starting weapons, so that in addition to a powerful weapon of the type they specialise in, each one has a weaker weapon of the type they're not so good in, just so they have more coverage of the weapon triangle. That's just, you know, how I like to do this, even though I'm actually not really going to be using them properly. You know, I actually don't know why I'm flipping between all these characters here, but, now let's view the map, okay? Look what we've got here. We've got 2 archers, so Sheeta will have to be careful. Some armor, so we'll probably want to bring Merrick, and a couple of myrmidons, and look, oh look at this! Yep, our boss is going to be our instructor this whole time. And again, we are quite tight on deployment slots here, so I'm going to have to kick out Cecile. I want Ogma because he is awesome, and because I'm actually going to use him in this playthrough, so it might be beneficial if I get him 1 or 2 level ups in the prologue. And I'm going to want Merrick just for those he's a mage, for those armors there. I don't think I need to rearrange the positions of anyone. Okay, let's save and get right to it. I think we're adequately prepared for this. Now, let's get to the test. Being our final test, this one's actually no slouch. Although it's not quite, you know, it's only a little bit of a step up from the earlier ones. And our opponent in the final exam will be him. So, yep, we're going to be fighting Kane this time. Just sort of kind of like fighting Luke and Rhodey in the early prologue, except he's better. Yeah. Right, now our first job should be to eliminate these guys, and yay, Ryan doubles them, that's good, because it's not a good sign when he doesn't double armors. That's when you start running into problems. So, yeah, that's why you got to make sure his speed is up to scratch. Now first I'm going to go have Ogma attack this guy. Now my plan was to have Ryan finish him off, but Ogma was just too good. And you know what, that's fine by me. Funnily enough, Ogma actually did get a lot of criticals in this map. In a lot of my practice runs and failed runs, yes, I had failed runs in this chapter, which I might be showing later. Gotta watch Kane's range here, although on normal, he doesn't actually move until a certain event. Make sure to equip that new steel sword I got. Like I said earlier, there is no downsides to equipping steel weapons right now. And... oh yes, we're prepared, but... that's interesting. And oh, I had a major brain fart here. Yes, okay, that was stupid, and I was only saved from that by sheer blind luck. Okay, okay, don't do that. Seriously, don't do that. That was stupid. So what I learned here was, always lock in Archer's ranges. And whoa, yes, Ogma is being awesome. I told you before he was being awesome. But, oh, yes, I still feel like an idiot for what I did there with Sheeta. That was stupid. And now that Archer is going to die a horrible, painful death just because I feel like it. Oh, I was so stupid. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, attack me with my weakness, will you? Yeah, that's right. That's what you get for missing me. And, wow, she actually got defense. That's... unlikely, but I'll take it. Although, annoyingly enough, this actually is the run of the chapter that doesn't count. Because, yes, I'm actually a little more interested in the B version of this map than the A version. And I don't think, well, yeah, Merrick hasn't got that much action, but that's not really all that bad. Unfortunately, Ryan is still not doubling those guys. He will soon, but, not quite yet. Now I need a bit of healing, but, beware of Kane's warning in the previous few turns. We've got rid of all these enemies here, but... remember what he said, the enemies we see aren't always our only ones. And, of course, reinforcements tutorial. So yeah, reinforcements shot from force, blah blah. Now, look at this thing here. Notice how it says there are other places reinforcements can appear from? Bear that in mind. That's going to be important later. But not now. Alright, let's see. Oh shit, I can't quite kill that thing. Now, okay, a few things here. The whole reinforcements issue is very different depending on what difficulty you're playing. As the difficulty setting screen informs you, on hard or above, reinforcements appear at the end of the, beginning of the enemy phase instead of the end. In other words, reinforcements can move the turn they arrive. And this can be really problematic, as we will find out on the Fail Channel! On Serena's Forest Forum's regular best/worst polls, I remember one of the options previously being best and worst ways to get a game over. Voted worst was unexpected reinforcements, although forgive me if I'm wrong on that, I know it was certainly in the top 3. I could not agree more. And you're about to see why. Though this wasn't a game over, it was pretty close. It was my hard mode run of this chapter, and Sheeta had just finished off, the last initial enemy on the map. Of course, we were all safe, right? Well, I knew the reinforcements were coming, so I moved Ogma over this way and healed him, just to make sure I was ready for the inevitable reinforcements from that fort. I even blocked it off like this. Unfortunately, without playing the chapter first myself, I had no idea which forts the reinforcements were going to come from. And on hard, when they can move the turn they arrive, well, this happened. Nor did I have any way of knowing that an archer would come out of that fort right next to Sheeta. Hey, but she's alive, she's alive, she's alive! Oh, wait a minute, no, and she is gone. And that is why unexpected reinforcements suck. This has been the Fail Channel. I also like how the tutorial here tells you that you can stop reinforcements from appearing by placing a unit where they arrive, and yet the reinforcements have already appeared by the time the tutorial card shows up, so it's already too late to do that. Bravo game, thanks for trolling us. But anyway, we're gonna learn to hate reinforcements eventually, I'm sure. Especially seeing once I switch over to the Prologue, after the Prologue, I'll be playing on hard mode, and because of that, yeah, I will have to deal with reinforcements being able to attack on the turn they arrive, which is not nice. And right, Kane has arrived, and so once the reinforcements appear, Kane will come charging for you. On the higher difficulties, I believe he can actually attack you if you get in his range even before that. But I don't think the chapter will end until you defeat everyone. Now, right, perfect for Ryan to finish him off, right? Oh, come on, Ryan! The one time you had to miss with an 87%, it had to be now, didn't it? Oh, why, Ryan? Why? You were so good before! Oh, come on, Ryan. Yeah, I was a little annoyed at that. So I had to use Sheeta to get the final blow. Thankfully, Ryan missing out on the experience won't matter, because this is not the run that counts. And for some weird reason, Kane drops a heal staff. I guess because we're probably running out of the one for Riss, but it makes no sense that he'd be carrying the staff. Like, what would Kane be doing with a heal staff? Anyway, now this has happened, and we've learned that we were prepared to do our best, and we had what it takes to pass the test. But, before we get to our results, let's see what would have happened if, previously, we had selected no to Katarina's question. I personally find this response to be the most out of character. But gameplay-wise, the B version of the next map is pretty interesting. In my opinion, probably more so than the A version. Again, this conversation is really short, and again, once we save, all this is the same, so we can safely skip past. But, when we go to preparations, all the talks are the same. I'll just skip through these. This will actually be the last time I do this, because this is in fact the last map that has multiple variations. No, just quickly skip these, sorry. Anyway, Prologue 7 is actually very different between the two versions. It's probably the biggest difference out of all the Prologue maps with two variations. Not only the boss, but actually the way you have to approach the chapter itself is quite different. Did I select different units this time? I don't think I put in Merrick this time. No, I didn't. This was because, if you go to the map, you'll see. Now, the first thing you'll probably notice is the two archers start off much closer to us. The second thing you'll notice is that there are fighters and mercenaries now, instead of myrmidons and armors. And if you look up to the boss, ooh, that's interesting. Yes, it's not Kane at all this time, it's someone completely different. And we have a very different challenge in store for us this time, although the boss is probably easier than Kane for one reason. The very thing that failed against Kane will be what we need to take down this boss. This time Kane still shows up, but only to introduce our opponent now. And of course, in case you didn't know, the reason why Est is here is Est left the Macedon, or in the European version, Maiden. I might be referring to it by the European name, I don't know. She left their army and settled down with Abel in Altea. Despite the fact that, due to lack of support conversations or anything resembling them, there was absolutely no indication that Est and Abel were ever romancing in that game at all. So it kind of just came out of nowhere in their ending. Thankfully, they do get supports in this game, but I'm now talking about two characters we haven't even properly recruited yet. Let me just stop. This version of the map can actually be quite tricky, especially on the high difficulties. Now, those archers both have... Oh, come on! That's the second high 80 Ryan has missed in this... Oh, this is just ridiculous. Not only that, but... Okay, so what? So Ogma and Mary Sue crit with 8%, and yet Ryan misses with 87 and 89%. That's... Oh... What is up today? The RNG is really acting up. I remember back in that video I did where the RNG decided to hate me. Maybe it's doing that again today. I must appease the RNG goddess, although I don't know how. Anyway, S gives you the same warning about reinforcements that Kane did. But of course the reinforcement's going to be different in this map. I can't believe I mentioned this before. The one thing that causes your approach here to be totally different is you actually, nice dodge there, you actually start off in a different location. It's subtle, but it really does affect how the map plays, and it really makes it feel like a totally different map. Wow, it's Dodge City today, isn't it? Unfortunately, Sheeta couldn't one round. This is probably why it might be a good idea to give her a silver. Maybe one day, but for now, steel. Lands just to help her one round things. Mercenary fight, no contest. And okay, now my plan is I have got to defeat those two archers. Because with those steel bows, they can do an awful lot of damage, and I've lost Mary Sue a few times here. If you let those two archers and the axemen gang up on one character, they're probably going down. So you'll need to watch out for that. I love the delicious irony of having Sheeta take down archers. And she usually one-rounds them anyway. Oh dear, this is a problem. I have to kill that guy, because if I don't, then Sheeta is going to die, probably. Due to the way effectiveness bonuses work, strong bows give exponentially higher damage bonuses against Pegasus Knights, and oh, defense, that's cool. Thankfully we have Ryan. Please don't fail this time. If you fail this time... Oh, and he didn't fail this time. Thank you, Ryan. The one time I actually need you to be good. And oh, it dropped a, another bow for him. That's pretty appropriate. Now Ogma's gonna go there because, there is some reinforcements that are gonna appear there. And, reinforcements coming now. Let's see what we've got here this time. Cavalier and another Cavalier. That one came from an angle I didn't quite expect. And this is a problem. I can't go and fight this Cavalier without putting myself in range of Est. This is a slight problem considering that Est is another one of those speedy prologue bosses, and as such, it has pretty much become a running joke by now, doubles Luke and Rhodey. What is it with them and getting doubled by prologue bosses? Right, now I really hope this doesn't miss. See, you hit with 67, but you can't hit with 87. What is wrong with that? It's weird, alright, oh come on! Give me speed! Oh well, at least he's level 5 by now, which is the same as Gordon, and all of his stats are probably higher than Gordon's. I'll talk about the whole Gordon, Ryan issue when Gordon properly joins. That actually won't be long now. Now I'm going to trap this guy in his fort against the mountain. And get some experience for Sheeta, because if I haven't mentioned it before, I'm actually going to be using her in this playthrough. Mostly because for the amusement of having her and Mary Sue there, because of course, self-insert Mary Sue's hate Sheeta and want her to die for their shit. But anyway, I put Ryan in range here, and the reason for that is, funnily enough, Ryan is actually one of the most durable people on my team. Even though just got doubled. Fortunately though, Est is probably not going to last another turn, unless Ryan misses again. If he does, there will be hell to pay. Oh, well, that's all good. Alright, now we just have one more move, and yes, got to use steel here. 71, come on, and boom! Possibly headshot, I don't know. And Est is down. And she also drops a heal staff, and annoyingly enough, Because there's no convoy in the prologue, I'm gonna have to chuck something. So I guess I don't need another stiletto. And, okay, look very closely, pause the video right there. A tutorial card just popped up on dropping items. That's kind of funny. It only shows up if you ever, if you actually are forced to drop something in the prologue. That's the only time it shows up. Funnily enough, though, that was literally the chapter had just ended, so it only showed up for a few seconds. So by all means, go back and pause the video there if you want to look at that tutorial card. I found that quite amusing. Anyway, now Jagan is going to give us our final evaluation based on how many comrades we've lost. And of course, our performance has been... drumroll please. Most impressive. Which sounded like Darth Vader, but anyway. So we just got really highly praised. And of course, we passed the test. And this calls for a celebration, don't you think? Yeah. Why am I thinking of a certain song here? And Cecile's like... okay. Rhodey says what we're all thinking. But, you know, of course, this is reason to be excited. Everyone's got their lifelong dreams realized, and we're all gonna be knights, yay! So with that, would that mean the prologue is over? Funny you don't really get to know all that much about her grandfather. And now we get a bit of an interesting scene here. There's a few things I need to tell you about this scene. But firstly, we get a, she can't sleep. Does that bode well for us? I don't know. And here we go. So, Katarina hasn't given us her backstory. So, let's hear it. And judging by the music playing now, you know it's going to be a tearjerker. This music ranks possibly, I think, among the saddest pieces of music in the series, and possibly even in all the games I've played. And now here's the thing. She was born in Norda. She was beaten, you know, just for existing. And if you remember Shadow Dragon, you might remember Norda as that town you visited to recruit Linda. It was taken over by a gang of ruffians an undetermined amount of time ago. It possibly has a slave market, and as you learn later, Ogma had a really horrible past there too, and so did Katarina. And yet, now here's the strange thing. Norda is located literally right outside the Arcania Palace's doorstep. Why the hell hasn't any member of royalty done something about it? It wasn't until Marth came that any action was taken about that place. How could the Arcanian royals let something like that go on right outside their doorstep? Anyway, I'll just stop. Now, here's something interesting. You know when she says, when she asks you, if you have someone that you're doing this for, like her, there was actually going to be another yes-no question there. It seems like it got cut, as you can tell by go to Serena's Forest's page on unused content, and you'll find unused dialogue for Mary Sue answering, well, my unit, answering no to that. That's, pretty interesting, so it possibly hints that maybe, there was going to be a different version of the next chapter. But as it stands, this chapter was the last chapter that had 2 versions. But first, now this is different. Here it is another yes-no question, but it affects something different. So basically, you're given the option to try on a headband like Cecile. If you say yes here, your My Unit will have a different hairstyle in the next chapter. Afterwards, you get to choose whether you want to keep it permanently or take it off. So, yeah, you can... What I'm going to do is, in this playthrough, I will always say yes at the first opportunity, but I'll only keep them for 1 chapter. I'll go into more detail about this next chapter, but anyway, I hope you're looking forward to seeing Nozu's new look next time.